Good morning, everybody. I love the energy. I love the energy. We had a certain amount of seats for everybody, and then you can see the far exceeded our expectations. Community members, and of course the veterans who were here to celebrate today, and that's a great problem to have. We had Don Slosher and Jason Grant and his whole staff give us 3 chairs out, and I'll tell you what, keep them coming because we'll have chairs all the way out the door if we need to. We love that you're here, and thank you for coming and supporting your kids, and hopefully they gave you a good show because this is really all about you today, veterans and veterans' families. Before I get started, I would like to take a moment of silence, if we could, and specifically about the terrorist attacks by the evil Hamas against the people, our friend and ally, Israel. So we can all take a moment of silence, please. Thank you. We've got a great program for you today. It's a program that requires a lot of people to make it a success. Like the military, you guys are all about teamwork. We got a pretty good team here in Montpelier, too. I'm going to miss some people, so forgive me, staff members and people. But you are all appreciated, and you did such a great job with Dave Bauer and Trent, sound and text, and Laura Zubaugh and Rachel Kruger, with the kids that are going to be singing and playing. Krista Coleman and Bess Cooley, we've got a little video at the end I think you're going to appreciate. We're instrumental. And Steph Bergen this week, our music teacher. She's got LT, she's got 5th grade musical, right? She's got Veterans Day, right? And then she's got Locomotion on Sunday. pretty big week for her. So appreciate all the efforts that you're going in a lot of different directions. And we see you, Don Swasher, and your staff, and really everybody who made this event what we hope is going to be a great event. That's something that our veterans that we love so dearly appreciate. Hey, if you haven't seen the Military Wall of Fame, I didn't take the veterans by that. It's out in the main hall. Anybody who graduated from Montpelier who had served, if you haven't got your picture in yet to me, I'll put it on there, and you're going to say, raise your hand, and you're going to say, Mr. Baum, I put my picture in there and I didn't see it. I got a new military. It's been so successful that we ran a room. So we've got one coming, and we're going to have to make sure that everybody's face gets on there because we want to honor you. We honor athletics and we honor the arts as we should. We also should honor the people that keep us safe, our veterans, because all the things that we love, we don't have without police, without the military. And it's one of those things that I think, even though we're a country that could be divided on some things, we all come together on the military. Now, I'm going to talk to the young people here so that you all know this. And we got people that are going to be going out into the workforce, of course, and we've got people that are going to be hopefully going in the military as well. And some that are going to be going to college, and that's what we want too. And there's going to come a time, young people, that somebody somewhere is going to flirt with the idea that America is not the best country in the world. And they may be somebody that you respect. They may say that, they may whisper it in your ear, they may say that in the classroom as you get older to a different place. And it's a lie. America is the greatest country in the world. It's the greatest country in the world because we have people that are willing to defend it. And never forget those lessons. And the easiest way that I think you can determine if America is still the greatest country in the world and always will be is this. Are there more people trying to come to America, or are there more people trying to leave? And I think even in kindergarten you're going to understand that. There's more people trying to come. This is the greatest country in the world, and it always will be, but it requires all of us to defend it, to speak highly of it. Not always perfect. We're not always perfect. We make mistakes. We can question our leaders, but understand in the end we're all on the same team. So important. Our first speaker, the kid who came to me and said, Mr. Baum, 2 months ago, I want to get my notes. Can I read? You better believe you can. Braden Walls, can I read this?
When Francis Scott Key wrote the Star-Spangled Banner almost 200 years ago, he called America the land of the free and the home of the brave. On every November 11th, our nation will celebrate the holiday called Veterans Day. To mark this important holiday, the Montpelier students are pleased to honor the men and women of our armed forces. Today, we salute you. Would you please stand for the presentation of the flag and the presentation of the Star-Spangled Banner?
next student speaker happens to know our guest of honor today a little bit, relative of Mr. Matt Thorpe. We'll talk more about him later. Pretty Thorpe.
Today, we are privileged to say thank you to all American veterans, to let them know that we appreciate them for their service and honor them for their sacrifices. The price of freedom is high. We cannot afford to forget those willing to pay it. Today, we celebrate America's veterans for keeping this nation, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Turner, Mrs. Turner, and I'm related to lots of veterans, but the ones that come to mind first are my dad, Leslie Bechtel, my brother, Jerry Bechtel, and my son, Colin Turner.
I am Noel Chester, and I'm the sister of Private First Class Joshua Chester.
Hello. Kim. Keisha Shelton, my mother.
I'm Kaylee Mills.
I'm Rose Mills.
And I'm Caitlin Mills, and we're the daughters of Stephanie and Randy Mills.
I'm Quinn Shelton.
I'm Mr. Morris.
I'm Matthew Miller.
I'm Becky Miller.
Greer Show. Mr. Show.
I'm Mom Larson. I'm Everyone Larson. I'm Mom Shaw, and the other grandchildren or great-grandchildren of Dudley Shelter. Hi, my name is Curtis Staples, and I'm the cousin of Seth Miller.
My dad and my brother were both Army, and Colin was in the Air Force.
Josh served in the Army, specifically the Air Cavalry, so he would jump out of helicopters.
She was in the Air Force. They served in the Army.
He served in the Army during World War II, and he was a sergeant in the 12th Infantry Regiment of the 4th Infantry Division.
He served in the Army Reserve.
My dad was actually drafted, and he was stationed in Germany a lot of his time. My brother was all over because he served for 26 years and actually retired from the Army, so he was in a lot of combat zones as well as different stations around the country and the world. And Colin served 4 years in the Air Force, and he has been a lot of different places as well. New Mexico was a station a long time, and as well as he's been in Afghanistan and Iraq and Djibouti.
He served from 2010 to 2016, and he spent 10 months in Afghanistan.
In Iraq and Afghanistan.
Battles and campaigns he served in were Riding Normandy, Central Europe, Northern France, and Europe.
Iraq and Europe.
Well, lots of memories. My brother, I just remember back when I was a kid and he went into the Army, and that was back before technology was like it is now, and so we had to wait for him to call, didn't know when he was going to call, and of course he only had a few minutes each time because there's a line of people waiting to call their families. So that was always something we really looked forward to. And with Colin, probably my favorite memory is going to see him graduate from basic training out in San Antonio, Texas. That was really fun.
So my favorite memory of Josh, most of them are really silly because we grew up in the 90s, and my mom had 3 kids within 4 years of each other. And so we would play outside a lot, we would dig holes in my parents' backyard, which I'm sure that they loved. And then one that really sticks out to me is one day, I was probably about 4 years old, he was around 6, and I duct taped him to a tree. We have photo evidence, he's also smiling, he has free range of his arms, so it's all good. We were having a great time, but my parents must have been okay with it, because one of them took a picture of it, so I don't advise doing that though.
Henry. My favorite memory with my mother was when she came back from the airport and I gave her a big hug.
I think my favorite memories is being able to meet other people. We have so many gatherings, like people and it's super fun to just have them and hang out with them.
I was born in Italy and my dad was based there. And I don't know, I grew up in Italy for like 20 years.
My favorite memory is probably like the road trips we do when we're like moving from place to place. Those are always fun.
Christmas Eve we would go to his house. At Christmas Eve he showed so much joy. Working in his wood shop with them. I was hanging out with them after the pictures.
Thank you for your service. Thank you for everything you do to make our country free. And we all appreciate it. Thank you. And I love you.
Josh, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, sister, and thank you for your service.
Happy birthday. Here's our birthday. What did I say happy birthday yesterday?
I love you, Mom, and thanks for serving. Thank you for your service, and we're so glad you guys made it back home. Yeah.
Daddy could be the best friend that I can ever have. Thank you for your service. I'm proud to be named after him. I'm glad you're my grandpa. Thank you for serving.
Thank you.
Thank you, kids. My privilege today to introduce our keynote speaker and our recipient of the Hometown Hero Award that we give every year. If you could read the bio, there's so much there. I'm not going to read it all. But I will just kind of preface it before I hit a couple of the highlights. I'm in the cafeteria yesterday supervising, and Joe Stefanale, one of our staff members, Army veteran, is reading it, and he looks at me and he says, "This dude's the real deal, isn't he?" And he's right. This dude is the real deal. 2000 graduate of Montpelier High School. Mr. Matt Thorpe served 22 years in the United States Marine Corps. 12 tours, combat tours in the Middle East. He was a team leader with the 1st Explosive Ordnance Disposal Platoon and combated the IED threat unit. Now, to our young people, what is that in layman's terms? Among many of his jobs, he would go out where the enemy, these terrorists that do not like the United States, would plant bombs and explosives, and he would have to go out and find those and defuse them. Pretty big deal. And when I say pretty big deal, it's a real big deal. High stress. And he did that for so many years. How about the awards that Mr. Matt Thorpe's had for us? So good to see all of his family here today. Purple Heart Award winner. Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal. Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal with the Combat Distinguishing Device 3 times. Presidential Unit Citation 2 times. And a Navy and Marine Corps Conduct Medal of Honor 6 times. Although he only graduated in 2000, I think what we have here today is a legend, a Montpelier graduate. It's my honor, Mr. Matt Thorpe.
Follow that one, all right? I'm good to go. First and foremost, thank you for having me. This is more of an honor for me than it is. When I decided to go into the military, it wasn't because I didn't want to go to college. I just didn't want to go to college then. I ultimately ended up doing that, but I found out that regardless of the job that you do, it is lifelong learning, and that's ultimately what pushed me to get a degree. But being in the military, for me, it took me places. It allowed me to do different things. It allowed me to see completely different cultures of life, far different from ours. And Mr. Bump said it, this is the best country. And I met the best and brightest minds that were willing to get after it when it was required. When I went in 2000, if you go back into history, and we're not going to go all the way back, because trust me, you're not going to enjoy that at all. But let's go back to, say, World War II, December 7th, 1941. Empire of Japan bombs Pearl Harbor, December 8th. We decide, okay, yeah, we're about to go get after it. Marines start doing an island hopping campaign in the Asia Pacific area. Fast forward a few years later, D-Day happens. We go and storm the beaches in Normandy. Fast forward 10 years. That's Korea. Fast forward another 10 years. Now you're looking at Vietnam. Fast forward another 10 years. You've got some small skirmishes that the U.S. gets in Grenada. Fast forward another 10 years, you're a Desert Storm. So, and that's where it kind of started for me, where I remember watching the news the night before we were going to go into and do the deal for Desert Storm. And I remember third grade, we learned how to tell time on an analog clock. And boy, did I get myself in trouble when I put it at 3 o'clock. So from then on, I started when I was presented the opportunity to do my own research projects that always dealt around some type of military event, whether it was conflict, small skirmish, whatever it was. And a lot of times I started picking the brain of some relatives. I've got a grandfather on my mother's side who was in the Army. I've got an uncle on my father's side who was in the Army. So it seemed like an easy choice. And as I started kind of getting into the concept of what I wanted to do, because I definitely didn't want to know what I wanted to do in the military at all. It actually started with, I was out mowing lawn, and the recruiter just randomly shows up. And I made my mind up that day. I wasn't 18 yet, I needed permission from my mom and dad. And then it turned into 4 days after high school, I was in Marine Corps boot camp. Who knew what that was going to be like? And then doing it with a twin brother was even worse. It seemed like sharing things in life turned into sharing everything in boot camp. So, fast forward a few years, you know, the history piece, we're obviously not in combat then, but if you move forward, you're doing a 4-year enlistment, and then you've got 4 years of inactive time, which, if by chance combat happens, you could potentially be called back to service. So after my 4 years is done, my first 4, it's time to make the decision. Are you going to stay around, or are you going to go pursue different avenues? I chose to stay around. I just didn't want to do it as a radio operator, which is what I did for the first 4 years. That got me some cold weather training. That got me some desert training. That got me in my first gunfights in Iraq. So we pushed forward in 2003, and that's when I had my first true deployment of what combat looked like. It was nothing close to what you would see on TV. We were fighting people in taxis, not wearing military uniforms. The game had changed. They weren't really using IEDs at that point. It was a straight gunfight. But we realized that we needed to basically kind of jump into some of the tactics that they were using in the Vietnam era. You know, go back to guerrilla warfare, get into the asymmetric warfare where you have to analyze everything that's in and around you, and that in itself it's significantly slower. Coming back from that deployment, it's time to re-enlist. I chose at that point to lap move into the Explosive Ordnance Disposal occupational specialty. To be honest, that was the best decision I ever made. I think my wife and daughter might disagree slightly because it kept me quite busy. Get through EOD school, and it's ready to punch time card. I went to Ramadi, Iraq. That was a busy place. I probably ended up rendering safe 550, maybe 600 IEDs on that deployment. The last response that we did ended up killing my team leader and my corpsman. And rather sit there and dwell on it, I chose to go out on another mission that night and rendering safe 2 more IEDs in the dark. Get back from that deployment, and it's time to move in the aspect geographically. We were stationed in California at the time. I had orders. It was, hey, go to North Carolina. So as soon as we get to North Carolina, it's time to, they kind of tasked me with setting up a training unit. Take all the experiences that you had from Iraq and let's train the next group to go out there and continue to be able to do that. So did that for 4 or 5 months, and then it turned into, okay, hey, we need someone actually to take out a team on boat with Navy. That's typically referred to as a Marine Expeditionary Unit. That in itself, that mission overall, is similar to the carrier strike group that's in Med right now. You're on call. It's your America's 911 that is on call, and at a moment's notice you go to wherever they need you. For that deployment, I was on the direct action platoon with the 4th Recon Marines. We were doing counter-piracy missions. So if you ever want to, fast road down a perfectly good aircraft onto a boat that barely floats, and call yourself Jack Sparrow, that's the way to do it. Get back from that, we get back. That deployment, I left on that deployment, my daughter was 2.5 weeks old. I get back, I've been gone for almost 8 months, and then I was back for about 42 days, and then an earthquake in Haiti happened, and we were still kind of on the hook for response. So I found myself 43 days later in Haiti, kind of picking up the pieces. There was no real explosive threat there, but they certainly needed our help, and we were there to give it. So fast forward a few months, they kind of told me I needed to take a break for a bit, and never lasts long enough. Another 6 months down the road, and hey, I'm getting a tap on the shoulder. It's time to set up a section to go into helmet problems. Given the time, that was a terrible place to be. Again, same fight. The difference for me in that aspect was I was tired of actually looking for the IEDs. Let's just go out and kill the people who are making them. So that's what we did. And in the process of that, we hit a compound, and when the work was done, we collapsed that compound. I don't know if that's the dollar my hearing aids. The process of that, we encountered sniper fire. I think the only reason I didn't actually sustain a fatal wound was probably because I was the only one moving out of the 4 of us. We did medevac 3 that day as well, and but that guy didn't live to see another day, so that's justice in my eyes. Go forward a few months later, we get back, and that would be. It's roughly around November. I know I got to come home from Michigan when. Yeah. Oh, at that time, I already have orders. I'm going to Virginia Beach. I got tasked with setting up a new unit that would be training U.S. Marines to go to foreign countries to train their military. And that was a pilot program that required me to be gone quite a bit. I'd say the first 18 months out of that, I was gone 2.5 weeks out of each month, whether that was in Columbia, Republic of Georgia, it's Burundi 3 or 4 different times. But ultimately, it is kind of satisfying to see that one, it's nice to know it's shooting at you, but 2, you set up a cadre of people that can actually do what you're doing, so that you actually don't have to go out and do that anymore. Move ahead, just when you think you're done with it, right? 2016, I get deployed again. It's supposed to be a basic sustainment deployment to where we're just there just in case. And then Syria happens, so my whole detachment is now doing flyaway missions out of Kuwait to basically go punch Syria in the face. That worked out pretty well, I would think. We get back from that, and then it's time to get orders again from North Carolina back to California, at which point, or rather I was in California then, I get orders to North Carolina, at which point I do another Marine Expeditionary Unit, another sustainment area. That one actually turned out to be pretty well. At that point, I found out I was going to be promoted to Master Gunnery Sergeant, and when I found out about that, that's a promote vacancy type thing. So the vacancies at that point were Marine Forces Command, which is kind of like a Washington high-level command kind of thing, and then Marine Special Operations Command. Being that I took selection in 2017, that was a no-brainer. They were going to send me to MARSOC. So I ended up doing that for a couple of years, and then they say when it's time to hang it up, you're just going to know. And of course, 22 years I looked at it and was like, yeah, no, it's never going to happen. That's exactly how it happened. Couldn't keep up with the young kids anymore. Everybody's in better shape. I'm pretty sure I hit every note through the joints when I wake up out of bed. So, at this point, it was like, yeah, okay. If I still want to be able to walk later in life, it might be time to be done. So, I officially retired June 30th of 2022. It happened to have been my 41st birthday. Best birthday ever. I'll close with this. Students, it doesn't matter whether or not you go into the military or you're a veterinarian or a lawyer. There are going to be days that just absolutely suck. That's a real thing. I think any veteran in here can tell you that that's a real thing. Put your shoulder down, persevere, and get through the task that you set out for that day. That will make you a better person, guaranteed.
On behalf of Montpelier Schools, Mr. Thorpe, we'd like to present you the Hometown Hero Award, and thank you so much for coming and speaking to our students and our veterans. And our high school choir and locomotion will do a performance.
history, American soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guard have bravely answered the call to defend our freedom, to aid our friends and allies, and to turn back aggressors. We can never fully repay our debt of gratitude to the American service members who died in battle or were wounded. We can, however, recognize and thank the veterans still living today. On behalf of the Montpelier schools, we say thank you.
Thank you, Genevieve. This time, as we're getting close here to the end, I'd like any student who has at least the plan that they would like to join the military, please stand up for us. I want to thank all of our public servants, our police, fire. Again, as we said, much like the military, without those people serving, the safety that we have, all the things that we love, do not exist. And I think we cannot forget that, how important it is. And sometimes you hear about the vilification of those people who serve you. I think that's inappropriate. And I think we need to celebrate those people as much as we possibly can. I love this day. I'll be honest with you, this is my favorite day of the year because I love hearing stories. I love seeing our great World War II vet, Mr. Hillard, and his family here. Talking to a gentleman for the first time named Tom Dilly in the hallway. And Tom has a family member that has served in the military all the way back to the Revolutionary War. And hearing that story this morning, and I just love chatting with all these people and the wealth of knowledge and hearing these different stories. And Tom goes on to be, served in the military, and he goes on to be the youngest police chief in the state of Ohio, still to this day, in Lucas, Ohio. And this is the first time Tom and I have ever chatted. And it's so great to see you guys, and we hope you continue to come back. And we hope the show that our students have put on for you today, and understand that our kids at Montpelier are taught to respect the military and the police and the fire. This time, Ms. Kruger's got a special presentation of American the Beautiful. Mayor McGee and Gracie say notes for that. Okay, at this time, we're going to conclude our program today. I hope you enjoyed it, veterans. I hope you did. On your way out, feel free to go take a look at the Military Wall of Fame. Take a look at all the pictures that the kids made you that are on the walls. And, we had a lot of teachers, and I'll forget some. I know Mrs. Dickinson's and Mrs. Martin's class, they've been writing letters, and Mrs. Lee's class has got pictures on the walls, and bringing Kevin Monner in to do the Pledge of Allegiance and giving them lessons on that. So on your way out today, maybe take a look at some of the artwork that our young people had made for you. I know they're very proud of it. And thank you very much. Our students could just kind of hang still as we conclude the ceremony and let the veterans kind of go out and just kind of take some time, people kind of chill out and talk to your buddy for a little bit until we get all of the community members at least out in the hallway or exit the building. Again, thank you all for coming today, and we hope that you enjoyed the program. With the Hillary for the Patterson shout, grandkids of Mr. Hillard, please come down for a good photograph. Mr. Shout and Mr. Moore as well.